Joining us on set right now to make sense of all this is our news director, Jules Vasquez. Jules, welcome.
Yes,
Tell us what
good
happened
night.
today and what happens next.
Well, it came as a shocker because, things were at a kind of stalemate, as we discussed last night, because that meeting that was to be held between Cabinet and its social partners didn't happen. Here's what factually happened. As I mentioned to you last night, I don't think the Prime Minister had any convincing to do. He is aware of the political calculus. He's also aware that he cannot act as a salesman on this, not to the social partners. I believe he has encouraged others to support it months ago, behind closed doors. But he was in a position where he realizes this deal is DED because of the political risk involved. So the Prime Minister, I believe, only wanted to meet with the social partners to tell them, I don't mind doing this. I don't mind to pull the deal. And here's what's going to happen, which I'll explain to you right now. But it is basic, it is the most basic political calculus there is. The road ahead is fraught with danger. One, this big protest on Tuesday, honestly, with the opposition being in the state of what it is, I don't think the PUP was genuinely afraid of that. Yes, it would have been significant. Teachers are out of school. You draw that bigger crowd. So yes, it took the wind out of the sails of those who oppose this, but I don't think that was the greatest risk. I think the greatest risk was two. Going forward into municipals, they had great political risk because it would have been a nagging issue because it's unpopular, it's politically unpopular, it's unpopular in the public eye, it looks bad, as it should, because it is bad. But the second issue is Mr. Briceño knows that if he had gone ahead with this, there would start to be rumblings about replacing him as leader. I'm not saying they would have gone anywhere. I'm not saying that anybody would have had a large enough group to remove him. But the rumblings would begin, and that is unhealthy because it can metastasize
Build.
exactly into something that's problematic. So he cut his losses. So I don't think there was any cabinet vote taken. I think the statement said that, and we have the statement, gentlemen, I think the statement said that that cabinet has taken its decision to withdraw support. I don't know that a vote was taken. I know I spoke to the cabinet secretary at 2:30 p.m., 2:45 p.m. And he was just waiting on instructions from PM. He said no meeting was held. I said, will cabinet take a decision next week? He said that, he expects that they might take a decision next week. But he didn't know anything, so that tells me no vote was taken. What was done is the Prime Minister simply called the CAPSEC and said, CAPSEC, you know what? Let's not, because the CAPSEC wanted to know, when will I schedule the meeting with the social partners, because we have to have it before Tuesday. And the chamber has indicated, we would love to meet. So, I think the Prime Minister just said, it's not worth the hassle. Officially announced that the cabinet has withdrawn the support. I do not believe a formal position was taken on that. So, but I want to say that we have to look now what happens next.
Right.
Okay, first of all, you just saw the insert. The Prime Minister has always maintained it's BTL's decision. Let us be very clear. There are two things here. The regulator, which is the PUC, and there is the BTL Board of Directors. They are both, as I have said too many times, politically controlled by the directorate in the cabinet. The fact of the matter is that once the cabinet says it is DED,
It's DED.
it is DED for the Board of Directors of BTL, which is politically instrumentalized, as it perhaps has ever been, has always been. So it is politically instrumentalized, which is what made the thing problematic. Now, I did reach out to the PUC. which, as I have complained, has been very mute on this matter. The PUC, the public relations person, said, we take note of Cabinet's press release and will continue to monitor developments accordingly. This not going nowhere in the round.
What happens to the chairman, Mark Helm Lizarraga? He was publicly defending this from
Well, he
top to
not only
bottom.
was publicly defending this,
Right.
he was browbeating anyone
So
who
what does
stood
it-
in its
yeah,
way.
so what does
He
it
was
mean for
he
him?
was he completely he distorted, in my opinion, so many of the discussions around this because he wanted to deliver for his political bosses. That is my interpretation. He says he acted in the best fiduciary
Right, right.
responsibility, but I think he's imperiled. But let me just say, I think he's imperiled, but let me
Okay.
just say, Mark Lizarraga is not a cheap person to get rid of. He had a contract. The contract is worth almost $300,000 a year. He's not and the contract, I believe it came to an end at the end of last year, and I believe it was renewed. So that is a
Consequential,
practical
yeah,
reality.
yeah, right.
But I think
Can-
he's cooked. I
okay.
think the man
Okay.
they call, unfortunately they call him this, I think the man they unfortunately call Senator Bacon is cooked to a crisp. But, being damaged goods in the PUP right now won't lose jobs for anyone.
Does this decision put monopoly concerns to rest?
Yes, I think it does. I think, as I said, I think the deal is DD. But the
Okay.
concern now, and I think
You don't think
this
it can
was
be restructured and brought back at another time?
anything is possible.
Okay.
But I'm saying that there will be political reluctance to do so. Listen, this was all unnecessary. We first reported on this in June of 2025. We've asked the Prime Minister dozens of times. He's danced away from it. Dozens of times. This was all unnecessary. You see the decisiveness he showed today, the realization of political calculus. He could have saved the nation so much headache if he had simply said this. The same thing that he said today. We just not support that. Thing done.
But
The issue is,
you spoke about the Ashcroft faction last night.
right,
Jules.
so
Where
the
did that
Ashcroft
disappear?
issue is
Right.
this. When he met with Social Security on April 19th, 2026, virtually, two of his executives in the room, he was meeting virtually. He basically threatened them. What he said was that he informed the board of the deal and he spelled out the consequences of refusing it. And this is what he told them, noting that SpeedNet has a detailed and aggressive plan to challenge BTL. This is what he said. A plan he claimed the company was quite excited to unleash. He portrayed the offer the offer of SpeedNet as a charitable act. Now SpeedNet only to make a profit of less than $2 million a year, 1.5 to 2 million, and selling for 80. But he said it's a charitable act. I'm offering you all, this is how he negotiates. I'm offering you all SpeedNet. It's not for sale. There will be no independent valuation, and there will be no negotiation of price. That's what he told them. And this is the final offer, because the alternative is a full-scale war for the market. So tonight, there are 200 SpeedNet employees in the 12 branches across the country. They are breathing a sigh of relief. They get to hold on to their jobs. But there's one more element. According to Mr. Ashcroft, if the deal did not go through, it's a race to the bottom or beneath the bottom. BTL is stuck because they were ruled to be a dominant provider earlier this year. They were ruled by the PUC to be a dominant provider and are on a 3-year price lock. They cannot increase their prices for 3 years because of the PUC. So BTL is stuck. And SpeedNet is saying, well, Mr. Ashcroft has said, well, we're going to race under the bottom. And very likely in that, Mr. Jaime Briceño and Mr. Renan Briceño will lose the value of their shares. because he's going to ram the battleship. That is the threat that he has made, and he made it explicit at the Social Security meeting that this is a final offer. So it is. We have a statement that just came in, and
Okay.
forgive me,
It's fine.
from the social partners, and I think we have the statement on the yeah. It just came in a few minutes ago. So they said, we commend the cabinet for listening to the concerns expressed by Belizeans across the country. It demonstrates the importance of public scrutiny, collective action, etc. The social partners nevertheless emphasize that Cabinet's stated position does not by itself determine the legal and regulatory disposition of the proposed transaction. The Public Utilities Commission, as a relevant regulatory authority, retains its legally required and respective obligations under law, and those processes must continue transparently, independently, and in accordance with the applicable statutory framework. The social partners reiterate the requests, etc., etc. We call upon BTL to act in accordance with its legal and fiduciary obligations. And it says, Cabinet's announcement does not remove the need for accountability regarding how a transaction of this magnitude was introduced, assessed, and advanced. I couldn't agree with that more. But the fact is, if you are waiting to hear the PUC come out with a final decision, it is easier to wait to see pigs flying across your window tomorrow morning, because the PUC is not known to move in accordance with the public interest. The earth rotates to their own dictates. I don't understand the internal logic. My point is, the PUC has never been a factor in this. BTL has moved ahead with the PUC always as an afterthought, and they continue to be an afterthought. So what happens next? Everybody on the BTL board, all except one, are politically appointed. Everybody got the memo. DED, abandon ship. In my mind, Mark Lizarraga must jump over the edge of the ship along with it, since he has been the most public proponent and a rather browbeating
Do we hold
public
the PUC
proponent.
accountable at any point in time? Because it seems like we keep giving them a pass.
Yeah, well, I think the PUC, in my mind, they are a shame unto themselves. It's an embarrassment how they have performed. Their total lack of public engagement, the complete opaqueness of the chairman, Dean Molina. These are my personal views. But I want to, we have a post, I think, from the BNTU Orange Walk branch,
Okay.
right? The BNTU Orange Walk branch, they posted a short while ago, maybe 45 minutes, until the government representatives on BTL board rescind their yes vote, we proceed as planned. The fact is, Indira, it is true now as it ever was. When a baby want ball, you just have to watch out. People are upset, disappointed, and displeased with the Briceño administration. They don't need much to trigger them to go and march. I believe there still will be a protest next week. I believe it will be far less vociferous. The BNTU or the NTUCB was planning to have a simultaneous in Belize City and Belmopan, simultaneously the NTUCB. Forgive me, I think we have the flyer for that, for the NTUCB one. They have not announced. We did reach out to them. They have not announced because they have to consult their memberships. I do not believe, and this is just speculative on my part,
Right.
they will still, I don't think they have the momentum, the impetus to still have two. I think they can probably still have one. But for the time being, the Prime Minister, and let us be very clear, yes, the political calculus is the product of the fare of regular folk, because they get the sense. Regular folk saw through this, saw it as a paramountcy of self-dealing, of a Briceño-owned company. They saw through it. So it was the apprehension of political risk based on on the popular sentiment that this was a stink and dirty deal, that the entire drama around it continued for at least 14 months after we first reported it is a shame, I think, to Mr. Briceño. Why did he leave it to linger so long? Because I believe he wanted it to go through. Now he can say it's because of the risk he feels from Mr. Ashcroft and what will happen to BTL. We shall see. But you cannot remove the fact that $18 million in familial wealth was at stake. So we saw the flyer for Black Friday that they want to do tomorrow. I don't know how many people still wear black. I know that it's left to be seen. If people still claim it, it is a people's victory.
Absolutely.
I want to be very clear.
Yeah.
It is a people's victory, and without being self-important, forgive me, it is a Channel 7 victory as well. And I'm not being solipsistic. I'm saying that this is something that we have championed, but at cost.
Of course.
Because you get sanctioned by big companies, you get criticized all over the place. But
my question is, does this become the blueprint for future just national decisions? Because it brought out so many different elements that you feel a sense of pride about, just everybody coalescing, having questions, being aggressive about it. Like you said, it's a people's victory. Should we use this format moving forward in certain decision making, especially of these nature?
The Greeks had a thing they called Thucydides' trap, right? When large powers and small powers, they go to war. Well, Mr. Briceño was facing the Said Musa trap. I recall very well, the Musa administration was facing two things. In 2005, they had to introduce tax measures, which this is right after G7. Greatly unpopular, protests in Belmopan, breaking up the National Assembly stairs, tear gas, everything. And he had to withdraw it at the last minute. They went to the House, it was a disaster. The House meeting had to be suspended because of the tear gas. And in 2007, even more unpopular, was the introduction of the Universal Bill, again Ashcroft related, to pay the Ashcroft Alliance. Mr. Briceño at least learned from that, and he learned to pull back before. But I think that this unison formed in these social partners, even though Chamber bailed out on them last night. Chamber panicked and bailed out on them. But I think that this will be a continued source of pressure upon the government going forward. This pact of social partners, we can show the letterhead, gentlemen, of the four major social partner groups. And more importantly, I want to show the letterhead here. More importantly, this will play out in the Senate, because for the first time they walked out of the Senate. And they can, if they work with the opposition, with the three opposition senators, they can block certain legislation, not all, but certain legislation that comes to the Senate for approval. So it's consequential, and I think that it does forebode, it does have a bearing on what happens next.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jules. Thank you. Certainly changes the conversation as we move forward.
Indeed,
Okay.
it does.
So while the social partners have to wheel and come again, we'll wait to see what they come back with. Last night, the president of the country's mightiest union sent a message to her membership, a call to arms to get ready for Tuesday. She added that this could be shaping up to be a repeat of 2005. Courtney Menzies put it all into perspective.
The Green